when we're born, you know, we're an empty vessel. And, you know, our religion, the language we speak, the food we eat, the people who hang out at the church we end up going through the school is all controlled not by us, but by our parents and the other influential people in our lives when we first start in life. And it isn't until we get to, maybe 6 or 7 that we actually start putting our own ideas together, thinking things through ourselves. But before that, we're just an empty vessel. And so that becomes our default. You know, every time we're under stress or something, we default back to what was original programming. I'll give you an example. If you're if you're married or have children, and you always say, "Well, I'm never going to talk to my kids that way," but when the stress happens and little Junior does something, out comes your mouth the same words your parents used on you, automatic. And you have to take a conscious error and say, "No, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to do something different," if that's your choice.
Yes.
But that's what the original programming does to you. And so if you find yourself repeating something over and over again, sometimes it's the original programming that you've been given. And if it doesn't serve you anymore, then we have to override that.
It's time to change
new programming into the computer.
Yeah.
But we're like, use an example of a computer because it's very similar. Because if you got old programming in your computer and you don't take it out and you just try to jam a new one in, it'll sometimes override or get confused, and you'll have two, and it just messes up. So with people, there's no different. There's numerous ways to get the new programming in there, but the old program wants to pop out every once in a while, unless we can find a way to move it out. And sometimes people are very ready to get rid of that old programming, and it's not a thing. Sometimes it's there for a while. But if you keep using the new programming, continually repeating it, and even though the old one pops up, eventually the computer, whether it's you or the computer, will say, well, this becomes the default. This now becomes the default.
Yes. Yeah. And this programming can be carried across generations. The way people do things.
There's people out there that do so-called cleansing of genetic or hereditary. You know, the word for genetic cross on through. There was a problem with your great grandmother that her mother, and then you get it. And so that's all comes in. And I think there's some natural things that we have, just like the birds know when to fly north and south and do their thing, and the bears know when to hibernate. We too have some of that natural stuff in us that causes us to act a certain way.
Yes, because it's a routine that it's there for a reason. It's there because it's convenient for your system to know to do the motion, to not have to think about all the stuff. And when a program, if we call it a program, our routine becomes not helpful anymore, at least not in this time, in this period of your life, or in this phase of your life, programs become old at some point and not useful anymore.
That's right.
And this is how it's important to update your own system, literally, to be with your program where you want to be in life itself. So if you have your old belief systems inherited from family members long gone, it's maybe not that useful in the new times when the world has changed and where the systems have changed. So I think it's a very useful thing to update yourself regularly. At least check if you're in the position, in the place where you want to be, with your routines and with your patterns.
Yeah, and you find that what people will say, well, I'm doing the same thing my dad used to be such a warrior, and I'm such a warrior, and his dad was such a warrior, you know.
Or the opposite. I'm no way. I'm not like my father. Yes, you are, in so many ways. Oh yes.